if we were to do this like we did last week and do just like a couple of the discussion points at a time and then let you
Okay,
kind of answer those. Is that be okay?
that would be great.
And I'll start out with the chat summary, Mr. Mrs. Mouse, if you're okay with that.
Yep, we
That'd be
are.
great.
Wonderful. And to everybody here, we ask you to have your questions ready to go at the end of Ron's discussion, and we will be happy to answer as many as we can. This is a really important, as they all are, but a really important action plan for us. So hoping that we have a lot of questions, and feel free to shoot them at us and we'll do the best we can with them. With that being said, we'll get started here. Tonight's live chat again is the ESS action plan. And the chat summary is the ESS action plan is to stabilize market prices through the pre-purchasing agreements to include annual production of commodities with corporate and private producers. Now that sounds like a very deep and long-winded message that doesn't make a lot of sense. But what basically the ESS action plan is going to do, it's going to address very large producers around the world. They could be farmers, they could be manufacturers, car dealers, they could be construction homes. It could be a number of different opportunities to where the ESS action plan will offer a chance to purchase all the goods that these companies provide, and in a way to do so to stabilize the price that's being charged back to the consumer. So kind of think about that. And I know Ron's going to carry more. I just wanted to give you a little bit more detail on it. And with that, I'll just turn it over, Mr. and Mrs. House, for you all to do the discussion points, if that's okay.
Okay, here we go with first discussion point. The ESS action plan will endure financial stability for every participant in the world economy. Number two, there are two levels to this action plan. One, in the CACs using the Employee Agreement Account, which is EAA, administered by the managing directors. Point two, in larger corporations and industries, the Employee Agreement Accounts, EAA, will be administered by Corporate Human Resources Department working with the Managing Director in Love One Industries, LWI. Okay, Ron.
Okay, well, let's take a stab at this. Um, First of all, the economic stabilization. How do we stabilize the economy? We are going to do that, and I say we because the ESS is an action plan that. Well, let me premise that statement by saying not everybody wants to participate in the ESS. It's a big step forward, and you have to have some good moxie on what's going on and how to do legal contracts and that sort of thing. In the larger areas, the CACs not so much so. It's kind of like uh, the director will create the document, or the managing director will create the document for the person to do the business uh, owner account, BOAA agreement account. And so when we're talking about the larger ones, then it's going to require that a person have an agreement, perhaps a memorandum of understanding. But we'll see how that we get through the legal stuff on that. But the important point to it is to realize that a lot of people won't want to do this because there's a lot of work involved in it. Now, um, we're not saying that you can't, but there's a lot of people who won't do it. But we're saying when you talk about the ESS in its higher levels beyond the CACs, it's going to take a very strong position where each of us who participates in it will have to coordinate one with another. And the reason for this, if you are not part of um, Love One Industries, which will be the contracting or the agreement part of Love One Society. If you don't have that agreement, you could be sending or starting farmers or whatever. And farmers not so critical, but if you're doing something with a large corporation and there's two or three or four different, let's say the automobile industry, how many different brands are there? If you're a part, if one managing director gets a part of it and doesn't coordinate with the Love One Society industries, then we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We won't be able to control the price of things. Now, I want people to understand there's a major responsibility that we have to the alliance to do things in the way that is in harmony with what the plan has uh, given to us. Acting in harmony means you don't go out and make contracts with entities and you'll have the money to do it. But if I find out about it, it's going to be a serious problem. If you don't have a contract, or it could be a contract, maybe it's a memorandum of understanding where this is what we're going to do, and this is what Love One Society will do, and this is what you will do. If we don't have that kind of control and organization behind the control, then we're going to one person's going to be charging a different price for something and somebody else is going to be charging a different price. And this is not just automobiles. We're talking about manufactured goods, washing machines, dishwashers, um, road graders, heavy duty machines. All of these kinds of things will be a part of what we're trying to do to stabilize the economy. If we don't do it properly, we're not we're not going to be effective. So the premise to the ESS program, Economic Stabilization Program, is if you want to be involved in it beyond the CAC level and want to contract and buy everything that a company will produce, that's a little different than the CAC. The CAC, you're not going to buy product or supply product unless that's part of the agreement that you make on an individual basis. And I'm not in charge of that. You are. Managing directors are in charge of the CACs. And so anything above that, where you're buying everything that they make in whatever form they want to sell it to you, then you have to come through the Love One Industries. And I hope that you can understand that that has to be the way it is. There has to be a central processing of prices and properties or devices, whatever it is, cars, manufacturing goods, and so on and so forth. If we don't control it all by one account or in coordination, then we're not going to be effective. And the alliance is going to be really quite upset with us. So there has to be some rules and there has to be some regulations associated with that. If we do that properly, then we will make the stable economy stable, and it will be beneficial for every person who is in any business in any location all around the world. And that stabilizes their participation as well as the larger corporations. Now, there's going to be a lot of changes. Many corporations are not going to make it through because they've been fraudulent, they've been manipulative, they've been doing things that are not in the best interest of mankind and the economy, and not be uh, involved with the people themselves. And you can't, if you're that type of a corporation who thinks you're above and beyond what's going to happen, and go for it on your own because we're not going to be involved with you. There may be an automobile manufacturer that is doing things that are inappropriate. And there are other manufacturers that might be doing things appropriately, bringing forth the latest technology, the safest way to drive for the vehicles that they have to sell. You know, staying in the lanes and stopping if you don't stop in time, it'll stop your car for you. All of that kind of technology is keeping us safe and secure. And so we want to be sure that the manufacturers that we're dealing with are the latest information, the latest technology, the latest security, the latest safety features. And we can do that if we all work together. See, if somebody doesn't want to do all of those sorts of things and it's not in the contract to make them do it, then we can have some problems. And so we're going to let the alliance figure out who they want to not work with, and those companies will have go on their own. We don't care about them. We're providing an economic stabilization for the rest of mankind, and we will do it in such a way that it blesses the lives of everybody. So if you have a husband or a wife that's working, or single parents or whatever, if they're working, we want them to be financially equipped to deal with life. That's the whole process of what we're trying to do. So we're going through the economic stabilization system and getting right down into the employees that the manufacturer um, needs to manufacture their goods and what they want to provide. Okay, I think I've labored that enough. So um, let's just understand that that has to be done the proper way, and that's what I'm hoping that everybody understands.
Hey, Ron,
Okay, in order.
can I ask you one little question about that to just expand a little
Sure.
further? Is it
Hmm.
safe to say that we should expect that most of the large corporations and industries around the world will probably either cease to exist or will be drastically reduced to the point that it could affect the economies if this type of program is not set up ready to address it and grow the economies back?
Um, I'm thinking, how do you get rid of a corporation? If they can't make money, then they'll go out of business, um, or they can't compete with what we're trying to accomplish. And they can't. They can't. If we buy all of the cars that um, Ford makes, we sell them at a price that we want to sell them for. Now, if we invest 2 billion or 3 billion or whatever it is into buying all of the cars from Ford, and we distribute it through the dealers, let's say it's $3 billion. Do we need to make a profit on that? Do we need to make income from that? Do we need to even get the money back? Because we got another billion just sitting over here, billions of dollars sitting over here. So if a car manufacturer doesn't want to do business with us, our price to the consumer for Ford Motor Products would be way beyond or way smaller. The price of them can be extremely competitive, if not just downright cutthroat from the other kinds of the corporations that aren't going to be working with us. Now, in one person, Love One Society, I'm the overseer of Love One Society. If it was all my problem or all up to me to do all of these things, then there can be a misuse of power. But if we spread it through all of the managing directors and they all work in harmony with one another, for the things that they're trying to accomplish, then the magic will happen. And see, we're coming from love, not for making money, not for those who are so dedicated to make money that they're screwing up the earth and civilization. Uh, how many of us are aware of the fact that the food industry right now puts stuff into the food that we make or eat that is unhealthy? It's not healthy. How do we know that that's true? Because in the underground places where the dark side has put their money or put food storage, we found where that storage is, and the food is very, very nutritious. And it was meant for the bad guys. But we found it, and it's available for us for the whole world for 150 years. So you don't go into fear about not being able to have food. Yes, there's going to be some people when we take over, all of us take over. There could be some problems in certain areas. We'll try to avoid that. But I also know and understand not one person will die before it is their allotted time. Not one. Keep that in mind. So if people are dying off from places, then they came with that knowledge and understanding, perhaps not now in this life to understand it, but they have a purpose for coming, and that purpose might be to go through a death experience again. It's none of our business. It's none of our business. It's none of our business. And as saddened as that might be, we're going to do things the right way. And eventually we will overcome all of those kinds of problems. Now, let's also keep in mind that we have the light wave coming, light wave, wave, solar light. It's coming from the central sun and will be um, portaled through our sun, and it will come to us on an individual basis. And with that, we get our bodies renewed back to where the pristine, normal, perfected body is supposed to. We're supposed to have that. We're supposed to have it right now, but the cabal and all of the garbage that's been going on, they're trying to kill us. And if they can't kill us right away, then they're trying to make us sick so that the pharmaceuticals can make all of their money. They're not in the wellness business, they're in the sickness business. They're trying to make us sick so that they can make their money. That is what we're trying to get away from. Okay, well, let's go back to the corporations. What do you think is going to happen to those corporations when the light wave comes? If they're not in service to mankind, they won't last. Because we're going into the fifth dimension. It is a new timeline that we're going to be on. And we're not going to put up with the crap that those people are doing. They'll be left behind because we don't want that kind of stuff going on where we're going to have our home. So there's a lot to look at it there. And I hope that you understand, and I'm not just pouting off. Okay, the two levels, the larger and larger corporations and industries, the employee agreement accounts. I'm getting an echo. Somebody's come on. Um, employee agreement accounts will be administered by the corporate humanitarian human resources department, excuse me, making working with the managing director and Love One Industries. Okay. Um, Instead of each managing director, they can have people working for them that will interface with those larger corporations if they want to sign the contract and be a part of it. Because the managing directors don't have enough. There's not enough time in the days. And if you work 24 hours a day, you won't have time to get to everybody that needs to have this um, economic stabilization system introduced to them. So we'll hire teams to do that, and those teams that we want to hire and get involved in our humanitarian work are already now being prepared. Can you understand why I'm saying that? The experiences of your life brought you to this point in time where you can see Love One Society and what it's for. Your inner guidance got you here. And all of the people, they may not get the funds in the initial stages like managing directors will get, but those are the kinds of people that we will find. And we will build large teams of people that will be doing the work, carrying it forth, doing what is necessary in every country, in all over the world. That's what we're going to do. Okay, let's go on to 2, 3, and 4.
All right, Ron, we have the third discussion point. Minimum download of EAA can start at 25 cents per minute or around $2,500 per week. The per minute download can be adjusted. Included in the EAA downloads are paid for healthcare and quarterly raises of $100 per week. Number 4, LWI Love One Industries will contact the larger businesses, 20 employees or more, on a pre-production purchase agreement to incorporate EAAs to keep the workforce working and productive, doing the job they want and love to do. What do you think about those?
Okay, as I've talked to people, just jobs that they love to do, I hear people say, well, if I had a chance, I wouldn't be working it. I wouldn't be building cars. I'd rather be doing something else. What is it that you would rather do? So we don't want people doing jobs that they don't enjoy and love to do. And there'll be an adjustment period there. And so it may be that you'll work for the 7 years and then start your own business. And it's up to you. If you're a homeowner, you're going to get a lot of money for the mortgages and the things that have happened to us. Not only for those who own a home, but for those who have rented all of their life. We'll take care of this. We're going to have, they're going to be wealthy. Okay, so a minimum download of EAA employment agreement accounts can start at 25 cents per minute or around $2,500. Now, it says you can start here. Does it mean that that's where you want to start? If you're in a CAC and you're working with a business owner and he's a mechanic shop and he wants to hire some kids who have gone through mechanic school and can come and work for him, and they may be 18 years of age, uh, you may want to consider not going to 25 cents per minute. Work it out. It's just an idea. It could start here at 25 cents per minute, and you get somebody that's building cars and has a very good experience in ways that are very unique to them. You know, you see an assembly line for cars, and it might be one person is putting it on the windshield, and another's putting it on the back one, and then there's others doing this, that, and the other. Well, it's a common team that they love being a part of something that works together that produces something that's beautiful and functional. So let's not suppose that we know what everybody wants to do, but let's not making them do something that they want to do just because they have a contract. go for the 7 years. Or if you want to double your stuff, then go for 15 years. We're here to accommodate and facilitate the differences that people have. Their uniqueness is the thing that they present to the world. So let's be sure we're in the back of our mind, we've got the light wave so that the people we'll be working with are really going to be highly evolved people. But they might, somebody might love building cars. And maybe those car building facilities, manufacturers, will be building anti-gravity machines. And who's going to build those? If it's not somebody or some organization like a car manufacturer that turns out anti-gravity machines. We'll see. And, a truck driver loves to go down the road. It's very hard on them and they don't, sometimes they get in a rut and have a hard time with the family and so forth. But what about those people that give them opportunities to be and get involved in the um, managing anti-gravity machines that have the capacity of 4 truckloads of carrying it anywhere in the world that you want to go in 15 minutes or so. So there's some future for all of the things that are going to be, I won't say eliminated, but downward trend. Uh, there's opportunities for growth and develop in brand new industries. And let's not exclude those. Let's not pretend like they're not coming because they are. We talk about 6,000 um, patents that are waiting for us to. Well, some of those patents are good and some are bad. Some of the patents have not been registered. Some of uh, we get into building stuff from um, the galaxy. Are we good to be building stuff for other people? Yeah, I think so. We're going to have commerce with them. So let's just allow our vision of what's going to take place expand. Let your mind just expand into who you really are as children of God, creators that have created all things. Let's expand our mind to include that as we're talking about some of these things that are just a little bit different. Okay. Uh, right now we have to do this because there's going to be a transition, and let's let that transition take place. And if it dictates to $1 per minute, and then we do that. We don't care, do we? Do we really care how much? Oh, that's way too much for that person. Well, it's got to be fair and it's got to be equitable for everybody involved. Are you going to pay your directors $1 a minute download? That's $500,000 a year. I don't. I. Who's going to tell you no? You can't do that. We've got the money. Let's get it out there. That's what I say. Okay. The per minute download can be adjusted, as I just said, including the EAA downloads. Um, employee agreement accounts are paid for. They'll pay for the health care, and quarterly raises at $100 per week, and that's quarterly. So every 3 months they get a raise of $100 per week. That's $400 a month. That's a nice. If you're working and you get an extra 25 cents a minute. Oh, wow, that was great. Well, this is $100 a week or $400 a month. So we're making it so that it's big enough to make some. Wow, well, this is really great. You buy your beneficiary account. You can make all kinds of money with that, and that's money that's well spent. And you want to do things like that, then go ahead and do them. So let's see. Okay, the larger business employees. We go to the mm, workforce services, workforce working. Um, I'm just trying to see if I got that in there right. Human resources is the one that is the part of a company that will be in charge of this. And, we're kind of throwing out the idea that when somebody makes an employee agreement, that we are the employing company and we assign that employee agreement to another company for that person to work for them. And that will come under their human resources department. So, okay, we're delving into some things that a lot of people don't really understand, and it's okay. You'll find out about it. And what we're looking at is not creating something that's new, it's just new to us. So, um, allow that to be a what part of what you do. Okay, let's go through the next 2 points.
Okay, next point is LWI will take ownership of the goods and distribute the goods through established distribution channels.
Okay, you
Number
forgot
7.
5, didn't you?
Oh,
Got
I'm
five.
so sorry. Labor costs for large employers will be eliminated, but supervising, training, and developing employees will continue. And then LWI will take ownership of the goods and distribute.
Okay, but let's say that again so we get it clear. Number 6.
LWI will take ownership of the goods and distribute the goods through established distribution.
Okay, that's important for us to understand. If you go in and take over um, car manufacturers, you use the same system because there's people that work in there, dealers, car salespeople, all of that, and there's the people that call them middlemen. Why do we want to eliminate those kinds of jobs? Because they're people who have families. We don't want to eliminate anybody. Food brokers and that sort of stuff. Let them be a major part of what we're going to do because they have families too. So what we're trying to do is maintain what's there as far as labor is concerned, as far as people being involved in their businesses that they enjoy. And let's be sure that they are economically stable. Let's be sure that they are. And let's take personal responsibility to do that. Okay, let's go back to number 5. Labor costs for large employers. What is a large employer? uh, a company that employs a lot of people. Labor costs for the large for oh I'm sorry, labor costs for large employers will be eliminated. Why? Because we're paying for their labor costs through our employee agreement accounts. So what we buy from them is minus the labor costs because and it goes back into the 5-year average. That's what I've determined in my mind. What I'd like to do. Let's go with your labor costs for your stuff for the last 5 years. And so you want to sell it to us on a wholesale basis, less the cost of labor. Now what does that mean for the other side? What about those who do not get employee accounts, employee agreement accounts? I'm saying that the upper management of these corporations, they will still be making their profit because they're selling to us at a wholesale minus the cost of the labor. But they'll still be buying the parts and everything else for um, that manufacturer, and those who are involved in the upper management, they will take the profits that come, and I don't care what they do with them. I just want them to be stable. And good people are hard to find, but we get into some of those good people are hard to find, or it's hard to find good people. Uh, let's be sure that the people who are doing the work are not eliminated. And that's why we've left it open for the upper management. They don't get labor, they don't get a employee accounts. They just get their profits and they're part of the system. And that's up to their board of directors and the president of the company and that sort of thing, and the human resources to pay them what they're supposed to get. I don't know how all of that works, so I just leave it up to the businesses. They'll make their profit. They'll make all the profit that they need because we're buying everything that they can produce. So they will be very wealthy, and that's a good thing.
Hey, Ron, can I interject again? This is like
Sure
such a
can.
hot button for me. I've been in, this was me at my career mostly, so I understand this very well. And what the members need to know, and I know we've talked about this in previous audios, but I want to remind those people who are new or listening to the recording that when Ron talks about a reduction of labor costs or being pretty much the elimination of the labor costs to the lower employees of large corporations, you know, the industry says right now that's about a 15% to 40% savings to a corporation. That's what labor costs tend to run. When you take that kind of money off their bottom line and you provide a fair price to the consumer on the goods they produce, the upper management people are going to do very, very well. So this program is a win-win for any corporation and any employee working there. But you can be guaranteed that you save a large amount of a large corporation's money coming from labor costs. You're talking about an opportunity to really put more effort into that business so that it generates a really good profit. I just wanted to share that because it's such a big number when you think about it.
Yeah. And see, that'll be part of the contract that the larger corporations, and corporations need to have contract rather than a memorandum of understanding or just an agreement. They need a contract that has teeth in it so that they'll abide things. And as I said that, the thought came to me, well, these are people who are going to be going through the light wave. Oops. Those are the good people that we're looking for. And they're the positions of responsibility and authority in business. And that's what the economy is about. So yes, we're going to do things right now. I just like to make an observation for everybody. Can you see how much effort, how much concentrated effort that went into the establishment of Love One Society? We're going into areas that many of us have never been in. I've not been in large corporations at all. Um, and yet we're going there. We've thought it through. And because we want everybody to be successful, we have the money. Let's get them successful financially at a level that they want to be. And of course, through the PHF, the private home funding, they're going to get a lot of money from the mortgages and so forth. And what we're going to do for those people, they could be in the thousands and thousands of dollars, perhaps millions. So this program, Loved One Society, is not just something that happened overnight and was downloaded. It had to have all the thoughts and preparation that was necessary. And when we went through all of that, then the Alliance says it is finished. Now, when I say finished, it's my responsibility to implement it. And in the implementation, we'll have to follow very closely to be in harmony with the alliance. And that is my promise to you, that nothing will be done that's not allowed by the alliance. We're in complete harmony. I am the one in charge of it, but they will be in complete harmony. That's my promise. Okay, let's go through
So Ron, what
7
we'd like
and
to
8.
do is, we're going to do 7 and 8, and then we're going to stop there, if that's all right with you, and answer questions because we're approaching the top of the hour here. And so that way we'll come back and we'll finish up next week. Would that be okay?
That would be fine.
Okay, wonderful. So again, a reminder to everybody, you might want to start raising your hands. And I know sometimes Telegram drops you after a period of time. Just come back and raise your hand again, and we'll do our best to start um, answering questions, or Ron should. So Ron, number 7, the agreement signed with LWI will be a 10-year binding one that will extend every year by 1 year. And then the managing director, acting as an LWI agent, will issue a 10-year performance bond for the upfront purchases of the company's annual production placed in an escrow account. And then loans can be made on that bond to help businesses if they choose to want to borrow off of it. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. This is good. The agreement signed with LWI will be a 10-year binding contract agreement. We'll get some legal advice and inquire about the Lord and see what he would like to do as far as agreements or contracts are concerned. That will extend each year by 1 year. So it's a 10-year binding agreement. Now, consider this. I say Ford Motor Company, and I don't mean to preference them, but I haven't heard bad things about it. So it's one that I feel comfortable talking about. You go to them and you say, we would like to change the way that you do business, and this is our proposal to you. And they say, well, if we did this, there's no turning back for us. What if you renege on the contract? What if you don't have money for the contract to pay us? And so we put up a bond account. We create a bond account, and that's in number 8. Managing directors will put up a bond account at a significant amount of money, and that bond will go out 10 years into the future and be renewed every year at that 10-year bond account. So Ford Motor Company can know for 10 years we're going to be paying all the bills and all the responsibilities that we have said we would, so that there's no reneging or dropping the contract for us, because we'll put the money in the bond that will pay for all. So 10 years of payments, we put in a bond. Okay, we put in a 10 years amount of money for the bond to be paid out 10 years if indeed we foreclose on. And they have 10 years of at that level to do what they want to do and something else. Now let's imagine this. I've thought through the car market. Um, what are the new things that are coming out? We want to be sure that they are responsible for the new stuff that's coming out. So part of the bond, part of our contract will be you're responsible to increase and use all of the latest technology in the construction of the automobile. That's part of the contract. If you break that, if you don't keep up to the standard, then there'll be a contract would say that you didn't do this, so this is the punishment. But we stand behind everything because we have 10 years of payment that we put in the account over there. That's an escrow account that's controlled by a law firm or the bank, well, a quantum financial system in this regard. So the money is there. And if you wanted to take a loan out of that, if you want to expand, you've got the money to do so. And it doesn't come out of our pocket, it just comes out of the bond. And they know from year to year that we're paying everything that we've said we would. They'll have to repay that bond to keep the bond at the high level. Excuse me, they'll have to repay a loan to keep the bond at that level because that guarantees them their business. So that's why we've got all of that performance bond stuff up. We've done that so that okay, now you're going in and saying to president of or CEO or whatever of Ford, we're going to change the way you do business. And we're going to make it profitable for you. Because if there's anti-gravity machines that come out, the personal ones, um, quantum healing systems, Dr. Alfredo he's already built one. It's a scooter. Now, the problem is, if you go to Paris, where are you going to park it? Those are things that I haven't asked questions about. There's things that I've figured out how to do all that. Just go in and out of phase. Then you're not crashing into anything and you just go right through. And then when it's time, then you come into phase when you're where you want to go. Look for a parking place. Those are the kinds of things that are coming. Okay. Those are the concerns that are coming. And if we're not prepared to give the manufacturing people the money to build the new gadgets, uh, then there's things that we need to work out because we want them to do that. We want them to build it. We got to have somebody building it, so let's have our people build it. I hope that helps. For 10 years, and we do it up front. We'll put the money in an account, and then let's change the way we do business. Loved One Industries will own all of your cars that you make. Now it will go on what is the last 3 to 5 year? Uh, you're making a lot of electric cars that they're not selling like you thought they're supposed to. Well, that's our buffer. We pay for them, and then what we do with them is what we do with them. And Loved One Society and Loved One Industries is the one that will make those decisions. And maybe nobody wants one. Maybe they'll be used as prizes for things. We don't care. It'll just be a really good thing to do for society. If we get into free energy, maybe a device can be put in the electric car so that they don't need to have a battery. There's all kinds of things that could be happening as we come in. Okay, Dom, I think I'm finished there.
Good. Hey, Ron, one quick comment. If you can just, I want to make sure that I didn't mistakenly think this, but on the actual performance bond, does LWI double bond that bond as well?
I'm glad you brought that up because Loved One Industries, with the bonds, the Zim bonds and other bonds that we have, we'll have a tremendous amount of money and we will double bond. Loved One Industries will double bond. Loved One Society will have the bond, an umbrella bond, so that each of the individual bonds that are done for Ford Motor Car or whoever will come under that complete umbrella. We have the funds to do that. We'll have the funds to do that.
Very good. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Mouse, do we want to start with questions?
We'll start with Annette Sackrider. Your mic will be open. Can you
Go
hear
ahead,
us?
Annette.
Annette,
Annette,
are you there?
you're there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me now? I want
Yay.
to thank. Yay! I want to thank all of you so much for the guidance that you're giving us, and it's just so helpful and inspirational. I have a question, and it's just that I'm a business person too, so bear with me on this, and don't get mad, Ron. But
I'm not.
what has happened with the 30-day ultimatum on our QFS format? Or are we all good with that, with the Anna thing, or has that ever presented itself a different option? Like, are we going with bricks or Stellar?
Okay, you said something there I didn't quite get. Who is it that you're talking about?
You had put a note out, I guess about a month ago, because the 11th was a month, about the QFS and that our funds will be on the QFS. And so there's my question is, there's a little bit of confusion whether we're doing Stellar or we're doing the bricks or we're doing the QFS, and did that get resolved?
Okay. Our funds won't come until it's ready to be put into the quantum financial system. That means that the quantum financial system has to be up and running. So when we get our redemption appointments, and the funds will be put into the quantum financial system. So I hope that answers your question. If not, then ask another question.
So remember, Anna von Wright made you kind of upset that she was saying it needed to go away, and that was my question, because that's the 30 days is up.
Now, what bring me up to date on the 30-day. What was who said that?
The Anna von Wright wrote a letter that the QFS had to be done away with or something within 30 days, and you had sent that out to everybody to read.
Okay, in responding to Anna von Wright, bless her heart, she's doing the best that she can, but when I inquire about her, she's not of the light. And so the things that she's saying about the quantum financial system are not accurate.
Okay.
So there's no 30 days.
Okay.
She doesn't even understand what the quantum financial system is, nor does it, I don't know anybody that does, to be honest with you. I don't know anybody who can talk intelligently about the quantum financial system the way it is. I've not heard one person, unless I listen to my own stuff.
Okay. I appreciate that very, very, very much, because, it's obviously a concern that we are on the right projection.
Yeah. There's no timing involved with it. Now, let me say it this way. If somebody's giving you a date that something is going to happen, or a time frame that it has to happen in, like 30 days, that's not from the Alliance. They don't do that. And, I've asked questions about it, about what somebody said, and I get the question asked to me, is that a date? Well, I said, yeah, that's what I'm asking about. What have we said about dates? Oh, so is it from us? If it's got a date, it's not from us.
Okay. I appreciate it with absolute gratitude. Thank you.
You're certainly welcome. Thank you, my dear.